Thanks for taking the time to view this e-learning series video. This video will focus on using the MIS Service Tracker tool. We will review how to use the Service Tracker tool to organize your program activities into the various MIS service categories and types. Also, we will review how to use the Service Tracker tool to track student services. Now let's get started. The Service Tracker tool helps you and your program staff understand how your program services are entered into the MIS, and more importantly, what your services are called in the MIS. The Service Tracker tool is an Excel spreadsheet. Let's first take a look at the tabs in the tool. The first tab is the Service Definitions tab. This is where you link your program activities to the service categories in the MIS. The next four tabs are for case service tracking. These tabs can be used to track the services your students are receiving during a quarter. Each of the four tabs represents a different quarter, and you can see the month breakdowns here. Let's look at how this tool works. This tool, in a nutshell, shows you how you can organize your program activities into these service categories and types in the MIS. Knowing what program activities your students are engaged in and how you will categorize them in the MIS will cut down on confusion and ensure better reporting. On the Service Definitions tab, you can see the service names that are in the MIS on the left-hand side. You can see the main service category and the individual service types. These are the same service types that are in the MIS pull-down menu. Complete this tab by entering your program activities into the appropriate service category and type. Remember that there are no set definitions for services, so your program should decide together what service type best describes your program activity. For example, if your program has activities that include construction site training, you may want to categorize that as vocational occupational skills training services in the MIS. Or, if you provide transportation to and from the work site, you could enter that in the Supportive Services section under Transportation Services. Once you have all of your program activities listed in this tab, all data entry staff should use this as a guide for entering services into the MIS to avoid confusion when reporting. After your program services are entered into the Service Definitions tab, you can then go to the Quarterly Service Tracking tabs. Enter all of the cases that you are providing services to into this quarter's tab. Then, using the information on the Service Definitions tab as a guide, check off all of the students that received a type of service during that quarter. After the student services have all been entered, this spreadsheet can then be used to help enter services into the MIS. Let's enter a service into the MIS using this tool. When I check the Service Definitions tab, I can see that this program provides transportation to and from the construction site, and they categorize this program activity as transportation services in the Supportive Services category. I can then check to see how many students are receiving this service on this quarter's Service Tracking tab. Now I can go to the MIS and complete and enter a group service using this information. When entering group services using the Service Tracker tool, be sure to select the service type you designated in the Service Definitions tab. In this case, we chose Transportation Services. After you select the service, enter a description of the service, then a date started. That date will correspond to the dates on the Quarterly Service Tracking tab. Then, using the Quarterly Service Tracking tab, select the students that are receiving the service. Then click Save. To download the Service Tracker tool, log into the Community of Practice, and then go to the Resource Center tab. Then from the Resource Center tab, click on the Data Management Resources and Tools link. Click on the Service Tracking tool to download it. If you have questions about using the Service Tracker tool or entering services into the MIS, contact the MIS Help Desk.